In this quick video, I just want to tell you about how you can maximize your display URL. So display URL is another tool that we have here to get more clicks on our ads, which is the whole point here. So let me just go here and select new ad. I'm going to create a new text ad here in our demo account. And usually when you create a new ad, it just brings up what you had in the last ad here. Now what we're looking at specifically in this video is the display URL. So this display URL, you see you have a headline, description line 1, description line 2, display URL, and destination URL. Now the display URL is what people see in your ad, and you can see here when it shows the ad preview, you can see that bottom line there is the display URL. The destination URL, that is, people do not see the destination URL, but this is where you are sending people to. So this destination URL is always going to be your landing page. But this display URL, you can literally put pretty much anything you want as long as you have the main domain in here. So let me explain what I mean. Now here you see in this ad, I have RenoSparksCairo.com/free visit. So even if my page was not, even if my landing page was not called /free visit, I could have this display URL say /free visit. So that's a good thing to test. Now another thing you can do here, another way you can do this display URL is you can have it say freevisit.renosparkscairo.com. So this is pretty cool too, that you can actually do have the phrase there .renosparkscairo.com, and that's pretty cool. And for example, one time I had a client that was offering a code enforcement software, and I saw a huge increase in their click-through rate just by adding this. I did code enforcement dot whatever their company name was. I don't want to say it, so let's say abccompany.com, right? So now people, their number one keyword was like code enforcement software or something like that. So then when people Googled code enforcement software, the display URL would come up and it would say codeenforcement.abccompany.com. So it's very congruent with what their top keyword was. So again, we're going to have specific ad groups, as I showed you already, for specific keywords. So for example, let's say this chiropractor, let's say this was so this one is in the Reno ad group. Let's say it was in the Sparks ad group, right? Maybe I want to do Sparks dot, whatever the CairoReno.com, whatever the main domain is, right? .com. I'll get rid of that one. So, you see what I'm saying? So you can do the dot. That's a pretty cool thing. Now, let me tell you something that was a really, really important, why this is so important, the display URL, and how you can kind of get creative with it a little bit. I actually have a very, very close friend of mine who runs a company that, no joke, does over 50 million a year in sales. Okay, they do over 50 million a year in sales, and over 90% of that comes from Google AdWords. Okay, so I don't know exactly how much they spend, but they spend millions of dollars a year, literally millions of dollars a year on AdWords. And I mastermind with this guy. I'm actually good friends with him. I've actually given them some tips that they were very appreciative of, some ad writing tips that helped improve their click-through rate. Now here's the thing. So one thing, this was so interesting, I thought this was extraordinarily interesting here, is these guys have a really unique niche. So basically, I can't really reveal all the information, but for the most part, I'll give you an example. They pretty much, they sell tons of different things online. I mean, tons of different things. And so let's say that the name of their website was called discountoutlet.com. Okay, so what they would do, let's say that was the name of their website. It's not, but it's let's just say that it was. So here's the thing, right? So let's say that they were selling a Sony product. What they would do is they would have sony.discountoutlet.com, right? So this actually, this is amazing. This actually made them look like they were like an outlet store for Sony, right? And they had huge, and this looks a little confusing because I have the chiropractor ad here, but let's just say, imagine this ad wasn't here. Just focus on the display URL of sony.discountoutlet.com. So they had huge click-through rates just by having this, obviously it was whatever the Sony product was. Let's say it was, Sony TV sale or something like that, today only or whatever. I don't know. Let's just say whatever. I'm just making up ads here now. So basically, let's say that this was a Sony ad, and then in the display URL it says sony.discountoutlet.com. Well, when you're looking on that page on Google and you see all these different results, and you see one of the results is a sony.discountoutlet.com, you probably think that that's the official Sony outlet where you can get stuff at a discount. And so these guys were raking it in doing this strategy. And I just heard that recently one of their vendors contacted them and said, hey, you can't use our name like that anymore. And not all of their vendors. They still have tons of other vendors that don't know that they're doing this. I'm not sure if their vendors would approve or not. I don't know, but they're making millions of dollars off of this, so it's important to note. But for example, let's say Sony contacted them and said, hey, you can't use that. So they had to go back to doing, let's say, just their main domain. They told me that their click-through rates went down so dramatically that it was almost difficult for them to compete for that brand. So just by having this, like sony.discountoutlet.com, made such a huge difference. That could be the difference literally between millions of dollars for their company. And it's just fascinating to me that one little word like that in the display URL could make such a big difference. And then you take that word away and it just changes, you know, your click-through rate dramatically and your profitability dramatically. So very, very important to take advantage of this display URL. And again, you can, so if this was, you know, whatever the case may be, if it's so for example, the people that did code enforcement, again, it would be codeenforcement.abccompany.com, right? So that's pretty cool having that and the dot. A lot of times, if you don't feel like the dot is good, or you could, by the way, you could split test this. You could have the same exact ad and have the display URL on one be codeenforcement.abccompany.com. You could try the other ad and have it be, abccompany.com/code enforcement and see which one gets the best results, like that, right? So you could test doing the / at the end or adding it ahead of the company name with the dot. You have a couple different options that you could play around here with the display URL, but you can put whatever you want. As long as you have abccompany.com, you could put a / after, or you could put the word before and just have the dot, just like I just showed you. Codeenforcement.abccompany.com would be the other way you could do this. So take advantage, because they let you take advantage. Google allows you to put pretty much whatever you want in the display URL as long as you have the main domain name in there. So definitely utilize this. This is something that not a lot of people utilize at all, but I highly recommend you do, because it could give you a nice little increase in your click-through rate and get some more leads. So taking advantage of every opportunity we have to get more leads and get a higher click-through rate on our ad, integrating the site links, integrating the Google Places, having a great display URL that takes advantage of what Google allows us to do with the display URL. So these are all great things to keep in mind. So that's another great tool to have in your tool bag. And now let's go on to some specific copywriting strategies in the future videos.